Welcome to Module 2. This week we'll be discussing high-quality curriculum. Our course objective for this week will be articulate the school leader's role in the development, implementation, assessment, and management of school curriculum, and advocate for all students to be given opportunities to learn a rigorous curriculum through state standards. As you remember, we looked at the Texas Effective Schools Framework in Module 1 and focused on the lever 4, which was high-quality curriculum. And this ensures that all students have access to a TEKS-aligned, guaranteed viable curriculum, or GVC, assessments and resources to engage in learning at appropriate levels of rigor. So exactly what is guaranteed and viable curriculum? Well, guaranteed assures that all students have access to effective teachers that have the same content, knowledge, and skills, and have the same opportunities of success. Viable means that teachers have the time that they need to teach the curriculum, and that students have the time that they need to learn. So viable is basically your scope and sequence. For instance, are all third grade teachers teaching the same content at the same time? Or is teacher A 3 weeks behind? Do we have a guaranteed and viable curriculum that's preparing our students for 1950 or 2030? If we're preparing them for 2030, here are some things that we need to be thinking about. We need to be thinking about literacy, college and career readiness, and deeper learning. Texas legislators focusing on ensuring that all students are prepared for a changing, increasingly complex future. But when they looked at this, they realized that despite some substantial gains, Texas still trails other states in preparing and sending students to post-secondary education. A law passed by the Texas legislature in 2006 required the development of a college readiness standards. The law mandated that the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board and the Texas Education Agency appoint vertical teams in the disciplines of English language arts, science, social sciences, and mathematics to develop these standards that address what students must know and be able to do to succeed in an entry-level college course offered at a Texas public community technical college and universities. A part of the collaboration between University of Texas and the Higher Education Coordinating Board, the College Readiness Assignments for Texas project was developed. This website has resources, assignments aligned to the College and Career Readiness Standards, and the TEKS for high school content. I recommend that you go here and investigate this website, especially if you're a high school teacher. Another topic that should be addressed when looking at a guaranteed and viable curriculum is literacy. Now, most dictionaries define literacy as ability to read or write, and the key to literacy is reading development. It's a progression of skills which begins with the ability to understand spoken words and decode written words, and it culminates in the deep understanding of text. So reading development involves a range of complex language, which includes awareness of speech sounds, which is phonology, spelling patterns, which is orthography, word meaning or semantics, grammar, syntax, and patterns of word formation, morphology, all which provide the necessary skills for reading fluency and comprehension. Literacy has been expanded to include the ability to use language, numbers, images, computers, and other basic means to understand, communicate, and gain useful knowledge, solve mathematical problems, and use the dominant symbol for culture. Now, while literacy in mathematics may be different from literacy in reading, it is as critical. What we know and understand about reading and writing looks a little bit different in a mathematics classroom. Math has a very specific and precise language. In order for students to mathematically be literate, they need to be able to communicate clearly in that language by understanding the vocabulary, the symbols, and the ways of formulating arguments. Students need to know what mathematical vocabulary is when reading a word problem, but they also need to know how to read graphs and equations, which involve symbols and visual representation of data. Knowing how to write the mathematical simulations allows them to express thoughts clearly and correctly. Ask a few educators what digital literacy means to them. You're likely to hear a countless number of answers that may even differ from your own. Digital literacy encompasses 21st century skills related to the effective and appropriate use of technology. To keep things simple, let's narrow the field to one definition. The American Library Association defines digital literacy as the ability to use information and communication technologies to find, evaluate, create, and communicate information requiring both cognitive and technical skills. With this ALA digital literacy definition as a guiding light, it's important to understand that even digital natives who know how to send a text and post to social media are not considered digitally literate by any means. This week you have a reading by Mark Prensky. This article is seminal work by Prensky, who coined the terms digital natives and digital immigrants. This article addressed the issue that we have immigrants teaching natives. How does this impact our ability to prepare our students for the future and not just the 21st century? Folks, it's almost 2020. If we're going to prepare them for something, it should be the next 20 or 30 years. Let's ponder these two questions as we think about what new curriculum in our school might look like. Is enough time devoted to learning how to use the technology tools in the classroom? And how can students use digital technologies to take best advantages of the educational opportunities available to them? Michael Fullen and Maria Langworthy, in a report on deep learning, reported that we're spending more time, money, and resources than ever before on education. More than at any time in history, an individual's education attainment is vital to her or his success in life. Yet our mainstream educational institutions are increasingly portrayed as obsolete, designed for the purposes of an early mass production industrial era. One of your readings for the module is that report, and you'll be using that report in Module 3. In the report, Fullen addresses the 6 C's, or 6 global competencies. 6 global competencies define what it means to be a deep learner. Deep learning experiences are engaging, relevant, authentic, and build the 6 C's. The video in this week's module, Glassion Deep Learning Project, will help you understand how one school integrated deep learning and the 6 C's. So when we look at the 6 C's, we have creativity, communication, citizenship, critical thinking, collaboration, and character. As part of this week's assignment, you will be using your readings and your video lectures. You'll evaluate your school's current curriculum to determine if you are preparing students for college and career and the future. At the start of this lecture, we discussed a guaranteed and viable curriculum. Guaranteed assures that all students have access to effective teachers and access to the same content, knowledge, and skills to have the opportunity of success in schools. Notice the word all. The word all needs emphasis. A guaranteed curriculum promotes equity, giving all children equal opportunity to learn essential content and to provide the opportunity. Curricular materials and instructional approaches must be grounded in research, implemented with fidelity, and include vertical as well as horizontal alignment. There are numerous interventions that can be implemented in the school to meet the needs of all students. As a school leader, you should have knowledge about the fidelity of the intervention, how the intervention is assessed for student success, professional development for the teachers to ensure the intervention is implemented. Part 2 and Part 3 of the assignment for this module will have you choosing a curriculum intervention program and becoming the expert. There are guiding questions for you to ensure that you become the expert. You will create a presentation that you will upload to this module, but you will also upload it in our Expert Roundtable Discussion Forum in Module 3, which happens to be weeks 3 and 4. Here are just a few reminders about this module. Review your rubrics, especially the column that exceeds criteria. Make sure you have completed all of your readings and have researched your topic. Choose one that you are not familiar with at this point in your career. This is about growth and not about feeding us with your expert knowledge. Check your announcements and email daily. If you cannot attend the weekly web conferences, please review the recording as soon as possible. And if you have not completed your assignment, your attendance quiz, please do that. Have a great week, and remember, don't wait till you're frustrated to ask for assistance.